there's this guy that is on Instagram. His name's Danocracy, and what ends up kind of happening is his storage unit is broken into, right?
Yeah.
And he does a series of where basically he's going to be tracking down everything that got stolen out of it. So we're just going to watch one part 2, part 3, and we haven't gotten on to the other part, so it'd be kind of cool to kind of go into the history, but enough is to where it pulls your heartstrings. And you're like, man, if that happened to me, it would suck, right? So we'll start right there, and we'll go into it. So.
It was my storage locker. This marks the 4th robbery in 3 months. Now, some of you may remember, 2 months ago, I caught this package thief on camera. Let me tell you about this recent one. Sunday morning, I was organizing my garage and packing things up for an upcoming move. Now, during that process, I went to my storage locker to drop some things off. It's important to note, this is what my storage locker originally looked like. Packed boxes sealed shut and stacked on top of each other. And when I opened the door, this is what I saw. Now, at first, I thought
I'd be
maybe the tower
heartbroken.
boxes fell down and the contents inside spilled everywhere. But then I noticed my snowboard here in the middle of the room. And all this stuff here, that's from my childhood. And as I looked around the room, I noticed in the top back corner, the area that the burglars broke into. Now, unfortunately, when they broke in, they'd stepped on an art piece, completely smashing the custom frame. And at this point, I didn't know what else they had done. So I started to search everything that was open, starting with my hockey bag. Now, with this being Texas, nothing was touched in there. But my snowboard was in the middle of the room. All of these bags were pretty much empty, and this box here was completely empty. But as I continued to look around, I discovered this, an open, half-full Budweiser Zero. Now, this is a non-alcoholic drink, so they drank half and put it back. But as I continued to look,
crazy.
my heart sank. This is my camera case, and both latches are open. And of course, my camera and all the lenses have been stolen. Now, this wasn't a rushed job. They went through every single nook and cranny of this storage locker. And as I kept looking, I discovered this near the entrance where they broke in.
What the f is this?
Looks like meth.
Like some Fortnite
Pickle
drink.
jar full of this blue liquid, which I would assume was
Slurp,
some sort of
whatever it is.
alcohol, and this brown sticky substance around the lid. Now, at this point, I wanted to put my camera up top just to see what was going on. Maybe some of my stuff was still up there, and I couldn't really see anything. At this point, I wanted to check my neighboring units to see if maybe they had been robbed too. Now, you can see this is where they came in. They had actually cut the wire and kicked it in, but before that, they had walked across it just scoping out the storage unit because the entire roof sags to about halfway. You can see this pipe right here has been bent down, and the neighboring unit, even though it hadn't been broken into, did have signs that they were walking on that upper grate. Now it's time to check the other side. This is what my storage unit originally looked like, but this didn't have any sagging, and there was no forced entry, completely untouched. I was the only unit that was broken into. Now, lastly, equipped with a flashlight, I wanted to see who I shared the back wall with. And at this point, I discovered the entire roof had been cut and pulled in, but it was still hard to see.
Crazy.
So I took a photo, and this is what I was able to make out. The unit that I share the back wall with had almost its entire ceiling cut and then pulled in. And the only stuff in this unit were these wooden cabinets. Now, these could have been used similar to a ladder to prop the people up so they can see neighboring units. Either way, it's not looking good for this unit right now. Now, as I kept looking around, I discovered more things were missing. All of the headphones were gone. However, they left the cases. And I don't know if the purpose of that is if they were to resell it, I could recognize the case. But if they just take the unit inside, it could just be another pair of headphones. They took everything from this cooler. No, there wasn't food or drinks in here. I was just using it as more storage space. But this is the weirdest thing. This is a chocolate bar that I got in 2011 from the Hershey store in New York City. And they took a bite out of the end of it. But not just that. They bit right through the bag.
DNA.
And I know what you're thinking, this could have been a rat or something. However, the substance inside this bag, which you can see here, is also on the lid of this Vlasic pickle jar. It's the same stuff. At this point, I knew I couldn't stay in here another night, and I had to get out of here. So I called up U-Haul, and thankfully they were still open, and I rented a truck. I didn't care how long it was going to take. I needed to get out of this unit in case they came back. Then, with the help of my girlfriend, we started packing. This took us about 3.5 hours, mainly because we had to repackage everything, but also go down elevators to get everything out. Now, before I left the unit, I wanted to see what was on the back side of mine. And it appeared to be the electrical room, a space only staff have access to. Since this video is getting long, come back tomorrow where I confront the manager of the facility and got him to open up the unit.
All right.
Well, I haven't been on Instagram in probably 10 years.
It's like a whole movie.
I know they can upload like movies now.
Yeah, basically. All right, so we'll go to
This
part
is
two.
of
But
my
like, if that
storage
would
locker
happen to
getting
you,
robbed.
like
After
initially,
spending the night moving
such
out
a
of my storage
heartbreaking
locker,
moment.
I had to wait till the next morning for the office to open up. So first thing in the morning, I went to the storage facility and asked to speak to the manager. And the whole thing seemed like I was inconveniencing them. Then from there, we walked over
This guy's a
together to see
storyteller,
the
for
unit,
sure.
which I have to add was the longest and quietest walk I've had in a while. Now, there's a reason I say that. When I upgraded to this unit only 3 weeks ago, this manager was a very friendly, outgoing guy. But this time he he was bringing a completely different
kinda
energy.
shaped
Wasn't
like me.
apologetic and really didn't even talk all that much. After seeing where they broke in, he wanted to see what the
Yep.
other side was. So we went around to the electrical room. This being a unit that only staff have access to. But as I scoped out the area longer, I realized I think it's the unit next door. But regardless, we opened up the electrical room anyways. And there was nothing in it. Now this is good news, because had their unit been compromised, it was likely that this was an inside job. But since it's the unit next door, this one has a number. It also has a tenant. Now think about this facility. Every single unit has its own unique 6-digit code, and you need to enter it quite a bit. You need to enter it to get on the property. Then from there, you drive in to get to the second gate, which again, you have to enter in that same code. From there, you can only enter the building by using that same code again. And then to use the elevator, you have to enter it again.
That's like
a total
you
of
can't cover
4
your
times you have
tracks.
to enter this code. Each time,
no
it
way.
should be tracking the ins and outs of the users. So with all that being said, the first method here is management should check the code of this unit and see when it was used in the last 3 weeks. That's the time frame window. Now after that, I spoke to the manager for a little bit.
In my experience, what they're doing is when they get above a unit, they're just looking at what they flag at like a pawn shop.
You see, now this is pretty
Or like
interesting.
a Chris
So
store.
far, the items that have been stolen are a PS4, an Xbox One, a Nintendo Switch, 2 DSLR Canon cameras,
Starting
a
a YouTube
Game Boy
channel?
Color, and over 40 games,
Connecting the
a Nintendo
dots.
DS,
Wasn't
this traded
a
into your
DJI
store?
Mavic drone,
Yeah, just last week.
Sold all that
a
stuff.
full men's suit, a pair of pants from a custom suit I owned. Don't know why they just took that.
It is
Of
crazy
course,
how
the
Instagram
smashed
you can
custom
now,
picture
like,
frame with the piece of art getting
pretty
damaged
much
as well.
vlog.
Every smartphone I've owned since I was a teenager, and the 2 chocolate bars that they took a bite out of. Yes, there was a second one, and yes, there was a bite out of that one too. So 95% of the stuff they took were electronics. Now, at
Strange,
this
dude.
point, I had a
It was the
U-Haul
Wet
truck
Bandits.
full of my stuff, and I needed
What's
to put it
that blue
somewhere
stuff in a
fast.
jar?
I
I'm
found a
still
location
curious.
Hours away that I wanted to use. I wanted out of Austin and the surrounding area. Anyways, I started the long drive to my new storage locker. Once I got there, I got my brother to also make the drive, and he helped me unload and move into this new unit. This one didn't have any openings for neighboring units to break into. It also had cameras as well as the code system.
Isn't that
And it was
crazy?
twice as tall, and I was able to drive up, which made unpacking so much faster. Once I fully moved my stuff into there, I started the trek back to Austin. Now I noticed something to the manager's point. Everything that was stolen was pawnable. They could flip this for money almost instantly. And the good news is majority of this was older tech, meaning there's newer editions out there of these same brands. PS4, PS5, not including the Nintendo
Everything I've
Switch
seen
or
at
the
Chris
vintage
get traded
gaming
in over there.
systems, because there's a whole vintage gaming
Yeah, you
market.
started selling
And I see
cameras,
that
right?
because this was sold
Am I
to
getting
pawn
caught
shop,
live on the
potentially they could sell for the
Why is
free
Chris
use.
sweating?
Might still be in there. Now is when I started phase 2 of this search. I wanted to go around to every single pawn shop.
All right, let's go to
surrounding
part
this
3 because he's
storage
going to go over it
facility.
again.
Yeah,
so.
he explains a lot.
Yeah, this is very
Yeah.
Then
detailed.
I put on my shoe, and then I tied the lace, and then I
Well,
took a step out the
So
door.
like he's like a builder upper,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So like
No,
that's
it's
the
good.
point.
This
Good.
is part 3
Builder
of my
upper.
storage locker getting broken into. My plan now is to go to all surrounding pawn shops and see if any of my stolen items have popped up. Now, the first one I went to was the closest to the unit, and they only
See why
had
Caleb
a
got all
Game
these
Boy
deals.
Advance.
Like a Phoenix
and
resale
really
video.
just one older DSLR camera, neither being a match.
Dang, how
Shop
much for
number
the
2. I
Game
looked
Boy
around the whole
Advance?
place. So eventually, I found the gaming systems were all behind the counter. Now, none of them matched my items. I also took a look over at the DSLR cameras, and
It is
none of them
crazy
were
to
the
see
models
pawn
that I
shops
had.
carrying
Next was
that
the third
stuff,
shop.
but it's
When I
like-
walked in, they had the most
Normal
DSLR
people don't
cameras
normally just
and
turn
gaming
those
systems
in.
available, but
Or
no
sell
Game
them.
Boys or PS4s, and none of the cameras matched mine. Lastly, I went to one that was starting to get a little bit far from the unit itself, but it's still in the general area, so it was worth the search. And right when you walked
Check
in,
the
they
game
had
stores.
the gaming systems right
Retro
there,
Games
but again,
Plus.
none of them were a match. Now, there was a few people asking why I didn't call the police. Well, of course I filed a police report, but there's more to this that I need to address. People are suggesting that I use the open beer can and blue liquid that they left behind as DNA samples to catch
DNA,
the thieves.
baby.
Well, I'd love
That's the
the
first
thought
thing I
behind
thought,
those
too.
suggestions. It's important that you guys know the state of Austin right now. This crime that took place isn't one that the city of Austin has the time or
Non-urgent.
resources to address. If I directly
It's
know who stole
non-violent,
the
nobody
items,
was killed, they're
but
not
if they
gonna
have dive
check
into your
DNA
own
for that.
investigations,
Nope.
it'll never get resolved. The city of Austin has a police crisis. Their staffing shortages have now reached critical levels. And honestly, you can see that by just walking around the city. Austin, Texas right now has over 500 open positions for police officers.
Dang.
The lack of police here has caused more crime and homicides to happen.
'cause everybody
Which then
moved
leads
out to
detectives
California.
getting
No way.
overwhelmed
All those people
and then
coming
quitting.
back to
It is a known
California
thing here in Austin.
Let me back in.
No, they're the reason why I went back.
No way, dude. They're like, oh, I
Austin
thought
used
it
to be a
was.
destination place.
I know, not anymore. They're like,
crime
me back
to
in.
crime, having to prioritize the most urgent ones. This
Sorry, we
break-in
have a
now
wall
happened
around
8 days
California
ago,
now.
and still, I cannot get a hold
Build
of
the
the Oxford
wall.
police. Nobody's called me back. I'm telling you, it is that serious. Next up, a lot of you guys were hoping that I had insurance. Of course I did. I also saw some comments from people saying that it is a cheap storage locker and that I went to a discounted place
This is
where
where
they
it
took
would hurt me
shortcuts
right here.
because the roof was virtually chicken wire. Those comments
never
tell me that
seen
these
that
people have
before
no
either.
experience with storage lockers. At least climate
Does this come to a
control.
good ending,
I've had
by
many
the way?
storage lockers through my entire life.
So he's
all over
explaining
the
like
place.
climate
And almost
control
all of them
is that's how they do it.
He's going to go into climate change in a minute.
This is the industry standard for climate-controlled units.
How
It allows
dare
for
you.
all the units
Leo?
to be in the
Is that
same
you,
temperature
DiCaprio?
environment. It also allows for ventilation to these units, so no mold starts to grow. And lastly, due to fire code, the entire roof has to be open like this, so these sprinklers can reach everything in that unit in case of a fire.
Fire code?
Do I think this is a strong
I don't know
enough
about that one.
solution? Well, we know
Hey,
the
man, you
answer
got
to that.
sprinklers in your
Look, when I
condo.
broke into my storage locker,
In my
they stole
condo.
a lot of things.
Not the storage
Electronics,
locker.
gadgets,
But these are
stuff that probably
air-conditioned
didn't
and all
mean
that stuff.
anything to them, but meant the world to me. And sure, I could probably replace some of this stuff. In fact, insurance hopefully will cover a
playing
lot
the
of that.
heartfult
There's one thing that
music
can't
now.
be replaced.
I know.
That's my Game Boy Color. To most people, it's just a
Put a little
$100
vintage effect over
handheld.
it, too.
But
I
to
see
me,
what
it
he's
was so much
doing.
more. As a kid, I was anxious, sometimes nervous in new places. I often created sort of these worst case scenarios in my head. You know, the traditional thing that anxiety does. That Game Boy was my escape. At
Dang.
sleepovers, if ever I couldn't fall asleep,
right,
or I
now
felt the
I am
urge that I
feeling it.
wanted to call
Yeah.
home, I would
That's
turn on
nice.
All
that Game
those
Boy and
video
play it
games
until
you
I was
accepted.
relaxed
Cool
again. It wasn't just a toy. You know, as I got older, I played it less and less. You know, my interests changed, technology evolved, but I didn't throw it away. Instead, I packed it away nicely with all the games in this gray mesh case, saving it for one day in the future when I have kids. Not because I think they're going to
Alright,
think it's
now
cool.
I'm
It's
feeling
probably
it.
going to be super outdated by then. But because
Turn
I
it
can
off,
share
dude.
them the stories of how when I felt alone.
Dude, I just bought a gray mesh Game Boy kit on
Now
eBay.
that's gone. When they stole that Game Boy, they didn't steal it from me, 32-year-old Dan.
Sounds like it's
They
worth
stole
a
it
lot
from
to him
And
then.
as violating as it
Well,
feels,
tough
something
titties.
broken into.
I see what he's doing. He's going my rest of your life right
There's
now.
one thing I've learned, and it's that these memories I created with this Game Boy, they can't be stolen. And they
might
served
be
a purpose for
priceless
me
to
as a
them.
kid. And as I've gotten older,
pay up.
I've leaned on different things for my anxiety. I just remember all those times, man. All those times when I was like scared or nervous or didn't want to be like, I gotta call my parents or something. I would just play it cool, and I would play this Game Boy.
Boom.
I know it's just this plastic vintage thing. I know. And I know to people that's all they're going to associate it with. But when you have such
No,
sentimental
we
things
feel you,
packed into
man.
that,
You're one of us, bro.
man,
Yeah.
it hits different. So with all this being said,
get
to
it.
whoever or wherever this Game Boy ends up, I genuinely hope it helps them as much as it did for me. Just thank you so much for following along. I'm going to keep you guys updated with if I get any money back from insurance. I'll let you guys know as well. But thank you so much for following along and supporting this series. Be sure to like and follow for more videos. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. See you guys later.
Dang.
Chris, is that Game Boy making you as happy as it made him?
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, he's choked up. He's choked up. I mean, you
No,
gotta-
Chris is choked up because he feels bad he took it. He's like, wow.
Yeah, I really wanted you guys to see that because I mean, like, you know, you can put a value on a lot of things, like
Yeah.
you know, video games and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
the
but
sad
then-
reality is the insurance would give him like $40 for that. You know,
Yeah, that sucks. That's a really crappy story.
Yeah. How many times did you accept? Just kidding. No, Chris.
No,
Chris,
we
you're
were making
genuinely-
fun of it during
Yeah,
it, but
know.
I mean, that does, you know, I've been robbed. Every time it happens, it sucks.
Dude, you just got flipping robbed, right?
Yeah. Just
You get-
had two kids
Oh, yeah.
run in and two like 15, 16-year-olds run in and grab two PS5s.
This is
They
opposite.
got out with one, and then one of my employees stopped one of them. The kid dropped it. My employee tried to stop the kid from getting out. They got into an altercation, kind of took my employee to the ground, and then kind of assaulted him.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I hate it. I don't like it
Yeah,
at
it's-
all. I hate robberies. I hate thieves.
And yeah, I know it's just stuff like that, and you know, I just feel like it's just so selfish of people to go out of their way to steal from just good, hardworking people. You know?
I mean, even if I just don't steal, no matter what.
Yeah.
You don't
We
need
talked
to.
about
I
it.
don't justify. Oh well, it's Walmart, so you can. No, don't steal. You don't steal. You earn it. Get off your friggin' butt and work for it.
I really wanted to heart tug you guys. Like, I mean, like I knew he was building up a story, but then like when he hits that reality of like what that stuff means to us and how it could really change like the
yeah.
perspective. Like we are so blessed to be able to talk about video games and to be able to spread that with expos and videos and like finding
Podcasts.
things and just the constant interactions we have with so many walks of life. And that video is just kind of like that small sentiment, kind of a reminder that we are very lucky people.
Oh yeah, we are blessed. So yeah, don't
be an a-hole.
Don't take it for granted.
Yeah.
What I would say.
And you guys, we're gonna switch on and we're gonna do some gameplay over on some Earthbound. I think a little bit, right? Or I think I'm just gonna let it play in the background.
What are we, Retro Rick, dude?
Actually, no. We'll do that
Let's
another
just
time.
talk about Mike Tyson's butt cheeks, dude.
Yeah. Do you guys want to play Mike Tyson at all, or you guys just want to talk about it real quick?
Whatever you want. I'm down to.
I think it'd be better to play Mike Tyson's than Earthbound, don't you? Are we choosing one of the two?
Yeah, I mean, let's do it. I mean,
I'd love to play some Tyson.
All right, let's get it all plugged up and
Can we enter the code and each try to fight Tyson? That'd be pretty fun.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
I haven't done it in forever, but I beat him a long time ago.
I've never been able.
I don't even remember what you
get knocked down.
I will say that the Tyson butt cheek punch out meme that went around was one of the funniest.
Super insane. Super
awesome. You guys all saw it?
Yeah,
I think so.
I'm definitely gonna put that in there. All right, let me get this all set up and let me unrecord this thing.